When I was younger, I lived in a small city with people with a small mindset. Like, I was this skinny guy, I was skinny fat, I had big glasses that would make my eyes look so big, and I just looked like a bitch. Every single time that I would ask a girl out, I would get rejected, I would get friend zoned. They wouldn't take me seriously because I looked like a little boy, and I was just sick of that shit. I remember one day I went out with my friends, like on the lunch break. We went to eat, everything. And at some point, they just all ganged up on me. They all started beating me. They all started insulting me. And at that moment, something switched in my mind. I knew that, first of all, I had to change friends group. But I also knew that this happened because of the way that I looked. I looked like a bitch, and I was small, I was skinny fat. I couldn't even defend myself. And so at that moment, I knew I had to change. Eventually, I changed cities. I went from a small city to a bigger city. And this changed me completely. I went to this high school, and there was like a bunch of these tall motherfuckers. It was like a basketball school. And so, like, there was a bunch of tall motherfuckers that were muscular and shit. And that was just so motivating to me. I knew that I had to change. I knew that I had to grow into a man. And the first thing that I wanted to do was to build my physique. So what I did is I started to work out. I would train from home at first. I would do push-ups, I would do squats, I would do pull-ups, chin-ups. And this got me in a pretty good shape. Like, I went back to school and I just saw a big difference on the way people treated me, but especially girls. Girls would just be around me for some reasons. And I just felt a lot more comfortable talking to them because I felt like they liked me. So that's the first thing that I started doing in order to look more attractive, in order to look smacks, is I started to work out. I bought a door frame pull-up bar. I would hang it on my door frame. I would do pull-ups, I would do chin-ups, and I would do, like I said, push-ups, dips for the triceps. And I found out that in order to build an aesthetic body, in order to build the body that would get me the most girls, I had to build the V shape. And in order to build the V shape, I had to focus on the back, the upper pec, the side delts, the neck, and the lower abs. I started to train these parts of my body every single day, and let me tell you, I saw a massive difference when I went back to school. Like I said, my friends respected me. I put a tight shirt on and I just felt so confident. For the first time in my life, girls had crushes on me. And that was just a big switch in my life. It was from a boy to the start of becoming a man. All because I started to build my body, all because I started to train. But it was still a problem. I had this pretty nice body, after a year of training, but I was still like puffy in my face. I knew that I had to get lean in order to become even more attractive to these girls. So what I started doing is I started to take walks every single day. I would get outside and I would just tell myself, take an hour and a half walk. I would put my earphones in and I would just go and walk for as long as I could. And this made a huge difference, I'm telling you. I saw for the first time in my life that I had a better jawline, that I had hollow cheeks. And that changed a lot for me as well. Another thing that helped me a lot to change the way my face looked was that you've heard of mewing, of course. But the problem was that I did it during the day. Like, I would put my tongue on the roof of my mouth. But I don't want to go to sleep. I would just mouth breathe all all of the sleep time. And so what I did is I bought tape and I would just tape my mouth when I go to sleep. This would allow me to breathe through my nose, and I'm telling you, it made a huge difference. I would wake up feeling refreshed, but not only that, I saw that my face was getting more angular. It was growing the way it was supposed to. But still, there was a massive problem. I had all of this acne. I had all of this fucking pimples in my face. And I looked unhealthy. I just looked like you know this guy who plays video games all the time and has like a bunch of pimples. He's just greasy. Well, I looked like that. And so I knew that I had to change this. And so what I did is I started to implement a better diet. Because when I was younger, I would eat a bunch of shitty ass food. I would eat McDonald's. I would eat, like, this was literally my routine. I would come back to school and I would just play video games for 3 hours straight. I would eat chips. I would eat candies, a bunch of like iced pizza, a bunch of shit food. And this just made my skin look horrible. I knew that was a big point that I had to improve. And so what I did is I thought of my ancestors. I thought to myself, they look good, they look jacked, they had the great lifestyle. And I just wanted to have this ancestor diet. So what I started doing is I would eat fruit, vegetables, meat, eggs, butter, olive oil, and nothing else. This is now my diet, and it just makes my skin look healthier. It just makes my skin glow. It's just the best diet you can have ever. And so these are the things that help me to looksmaxx. This is why, and this is how I started looksmaxxing. Let me tell you, if you follow the advice, the story that I told you in this video, if you start training, if you start taping your mouth, if you start having a clean diet, you will see a massive difference. Your life will change, just like mine did. That's it for today. I'll see you in the next one.